Welcome back to the Imperfect Walk Podcast.
It's great to be back, guys.
This episode is called Becoming the Person Your Future Requires.
Yeah.
What do you think that means?
What that means is being the best version of you, if that makes sense. It's kind of like, what do you want to accomplish? Where do you want to see yourself in a couple of years, maybe be 5 years, 10 years, how much ever years down the road? Wherever you want to see yourself or where you imagine yourself, picture you being that person right now, if that makes sense. So becoming that future you.
Yeah.
Is what I think about.
Yeah, that's pretty good. One point for that is your future isn't waiting for opportunity, it's waiting on transformation. And I think that's super important because we all have versions of ourselves that we want to become someday and that we strive to be. Like, we want to be this person who does X, Y, and Z. But what is actually stopping us from becoming that person? What's actually preventing us from getting the same habits that person has and the same mindset and everything? And how can we actually overcome those things to become the best version of ourselves and the future version of ourselves that we want to be? You know, we're always going to become a future version of ourselves, but is it going to be the future version that we want it to be? Or is it going to be just another reflection of us as we are right now?
That's so true. And when I think about it, to me, my future self, I'm like, things that we ask ourselves is, if I was my future self or where I want to be, will I be doing what I'm doing now? If I says yes, awesome. If I says no, then you need to change something. And for me, I'm not a morning person, but I'm pretty sure my future self will be waking up early, getting stuff done during the day, going to bed on time. Who knows? But for me, I'm like the reverse. I don't like to wake up early in the morning, and I like to go to bed late. So maybe my future self is the opposite, where I get everything I get done during the night. When everybody's asleep, I'm up grinding, staying a little bit longer, and then the same thing. It's same pattern. But outside of that is, what are my habits like? What am I listening to? What am I putting inside my ears, into my eyes every single day, every single time? What am I speaking to myself? What am I telling myself? Do I have affirmations? What are you speaking to yourself? Do you have affirmations? Do you have positive, what's the word I'm looking for? Positive things that you're telling yourself each and every day. Do you have goals that you're striving for every day? If you don't have goals that you're working towards every day, every week, every month, every year, then what are you actually working towards? And my future self will have those things, but it's easy to get caught up in the day-to-day of life, where a lot of the times you won't be able to do a lot of the things that your future self has done, but you still be able to look back and be like, you know what, I've overcame a lot of things. I've got to a certain point. So I find that in myself, as I'm striving to be my future self, I'm not there yet.
Yeah.
And I think one of the reasons why we did this episode is because we realized that a lot of people want to be their future self, but a lot of people let them not being able to get to their future self either prevent them from taking action. They beat themselves up because they're not there yet. I just want to let people know that there's a lot of people in the same boat as you. And it's not about, as I mentioned in like a couple podcasts ago, it's about loving the process of becoming your future self. And I think that's what this episode was intended for. Is not to say, hey, we are our future self, here's how we do it. It's pretty much telling you we're on the same boat.
For sure.
We're in the same situation as you guys.
Yeah.
And not to overcomplicate it, not to overthink yourself. Is like, it's all part of that process. But
yeah. And also another thing that came to my mind with this topic is becoming the person your future requires. We're all becoming the person that our future requires. And I think that what we outline here is just how to do it effectively and how to become the person that we want our future to be. But we're always becoming the person our future requires. I feel like because God is putting specific challenges in there for us to help us become that version of ourselves that our future self requires regardless. But I feel like sometimes we are not obedient, or sometimes we don't listen to the things that the Holy Spirit may be telling us, hey, this is what you need to work on. This is what you need to actually get down packed before I give you the next step. And I get that a lot of like, okay, this is what you need to work on before you get to the next step, before you do the next thing. And so I feel like there's a lot of other people out there too who have that as well, who, you know, they are becoming that person already, but how can they do it more effectively? How can they align themselves with God doing it? And how can they overcome the challenges that they have going on, if that makes sense?
Absolutely. And one of the biggest saying is the challenge repeats itself until the lesson is learned.
Yeah.
And I feel like
the loop will repeat itself. What is it? The loop? I don't know what it is.
I'm pretty sure the challenge will repeat itself
No.
until the lesson is learned.
The loop will repeat itself until something is broken, is what the reel is. It's like a song or whatever it is. It's like a trend.
There's multiple ways of saying it though.
It's true. I'm just trying to think about the one that's stuck in my head.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Till the chain is fixed.
I don't know what it is.
Anyways, as I was saying. But it's crazy because when you think about it, right? People go through a lot of different challenges in their life. Everybody go through different challenges and stuff like that. And when you talk about it from a godly perspective, a biblical perspective, when you think about it, God put us in different situations because there's a certain lesson that we're meant to learn in that season that we're going to be in.
For sure.
If you're going through financial troubles, maybe God is trying to teach you how to steward better. Maybe God is trying, if you're going through financial blessing, maybe God is testing you to see how you manage your resources.
Yeah.
It's many different challenges. Like God will put you in certain situation, like make your child a certain way, maybe a little bit more disobedient in a certain season, because He's trying to teach you patience. So there's many different things that God will put you in certain things. It's now for you to understand, okay, God, have a conversation like, God, what are you trying to teach me in this season of my life? What direction are you trying to point me? Because God will never put you in a situation that you weren't meant to be in and that you can't overcome. But there's a lesson that is to be learned in that specific season that you're in.
Yeah.
So now it's understanding, what have I been neglecting? What am I been putting off that God is trying to bring back to light, if that makes sense?
Yeah, the gap between where you are and where you want to be is often who you're becoming in the process. And you can't step into a future your current mindset isn't prepared for. Everyone talks about goals, but fewer talk about identity. And I think that's a huge thing that holds people back, is their actual identity on themselves and their self-image and who they see themselves as. Because a lot of the time, even for myself, when I envision the future self, the ideal future self that I want to be and become, it seems so far from reality and it seems so hard to get to, but it really isn't. Like, it's really not too far off of the course. It's just more consistency and little tweaks here and there, which over time become a completely different self. Like, you don't go from point A to point B just by overnight growth and success. It takes challenges, it takes hardships, and it takes a lot of doing things that seem like they're literally providing nothing and accomplishing nothing, except one day you look back and it has accomplished something.
Yeah, the mundane things done consistently a lot over time.
Yeah.
And we talk about a lot of people shape so it's that gap in between where you want to go, where you want to be, and where you are. A lot of the time people put that far ahead because of that result. So they're focusing on the result, but they're not focusing on the habits that leads to that result. If you can change the small habits daily, you realize that you're not as far as you think. Because you don't focus on that identity. Focus on the habits. What habits do you need to bring into your life that your future self will be doing?
Yeah, for sure.
So what does that look like? Of course, you always have the goal in mind, but don't make that the main target. There's certain things that you need to fix then, because if you just focus on that and you forget about the process, it's going to seem very, very far. Like if I'm playing soccer, for instance, and the ball's at the goal, but right now I'm thinking about this goal, the score, like getting the ball in the net on the other side. I'm about thinking about scoring a goal on the other side. but I'm all the way back all the way back by my goalkeeper, by my goalpost. I'm just thinking about getting the ball there.
Yeah.
I'm not thinking about the other team. I'm not thinking about my defend, what play I'm gonna make. I'm not thinking about what run I'm gonna make, how many passes I want to make. I'm not thinking about that. I'm not even thinking about, okay, now if the other team comes at me, I'm not thinking. The success rate for that me again scoring that goal is very, very low. Because one, okay, I'm not gonna dribble 10 other players and score the goal by myself. I mean, I do have the skill. It's not gonna happen. It's a very low chance you're gonna dribble.
Did you say dribble and you're talking about soccer?
Yes, you dribble in soccer too with your feet.
Really?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, dribbling.
That's what it's called?
Dribble, yeah.
Why? It doesn't even make sense.
You're dribbling with your feet.
Dribbling is like a basketball term.
It's called dribbling too. You're dribbling with your feet. So if I'm just thinking about that, I'm not thinking about the process of how I'm going to get there. Success rate is very low. Very, very low. I got to think about the plays. There was plays that we made in practice that we ran. Whether we having overlapping runs from the wingers, maybe having a false 9, drop back so we can hit a 1-2 pass down there. Are we going to play it out the back, or are we going to try to send the ball into the mid and hope somebody deflects it, send the striker for a run?
All I hear is blah, 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 blah.
See, these are things.
Because I don't understand soccer.
These are things that you got to think about. Like, okay, let me talk in your terms. If you're going to go to the gym, right? You have
the gym, my old friend.
You have no workout plan. You don't know what you're going to do. You went straight to the machine and just start doing stuff. How confused are you going to be? How locked in do you think you're going to be? And how focused would you be? Or how long would it take you to actually get a proper workout in?
Much longer.
Way longer, right? Because you're like, okay.
I used to have razor focus. When I would go to the gym, I would always plan my workouts, or I would have a notes app. Like I'd have notes of different workouts that I could do, and I could just pick one that I really enjoyed. And I would get so in the zone that I literally wouldn't even hear the music in my ears. Like I wouldn't even realize that I'm listening to music.
Would you think that you'll get a proper workout in terms of that's a specific muscle group?
When I plan it out first, yeah, for sure.
Exactly.
When I don't, no.
When you don't plan it out, no. You just feel, because sometimes I went to the gym, I'm like, I'm just here to be here.
Yeah.
And I'm going from the bench press to the leg press to the other press, and like I don't feel like I'm actually working any muscle groups here. I'm doing like a 1-2 everything. That's chaos.
Yeah.
And that's how people create a lot of chaos in their life. Because of that, there's no structure, there's no systems in place.
For sure.
Everything falls and rises on that system that you have in place.
Yeah.
And I said all of that just to bring it back to that main point.
Structure. You need structure and you need systems. And we've talked about that a little bit. But when life doesn't feel like it's going where it's supposed to be going, it's because there's a lot of chaos and the systems are not being followed. Wanting results without becoming the person who can sustain them. Self-image limits behavior. You don't rise to your goals, you fall to your identity. Fear of change disguised as comfort. I think that's so key, because how many of us don't do something because of fear, and we blame it on something else, and we say, oh, it's, because of so and so, or we come up with an excuse, or we actually just sabotage ourselves. We sabotage ourselves, we sabotage a business deal, we sabotage a sales deal, we sabotage a job opportunity, because ultimately in the back of our mind, our identity is not at that level. And so to become the person that you need to become, that your future requires, you need to be able to step in fear and take action in fear, even if it makes you uncomfortable, because a lot of the time it's the fear of change that's actually holding you back. You don't want to change something because your identity, what happens is your identity ends up getting wrapped around what you're doing. For a lot of people, it's their job, like their identity gets wrapped around their job, or it gets wrapped around a relationship, or it gets wrapped around a specific habit or thing that they used to do. Like my identity used to be wrapped around the gym, for sure. And when I wasn't able to work out the same way, I gained 50, 60 pounds and I stopped working out because my identity was wrapped around the gym and specific like physical looks versus the actual pounding the stone of creating the best version of myself through movement and strength training. Like it's a different mindset. And so I encourage people to look at the things that maybe they have made excuses for of not wanting to do, or they can't do it because so-and-so, or a relationship that they might have, or like a job that they're in for too long, or a business that may not be the right opportunity, or like literally anything. And I encourage people to look at, are you doing it or not doing it because the excuse is valid, or are you doing it or not doing it because you actually just fear the change that's going to come when you choose to do or to not do something anymore? Do you actually just fear who you're going to become? Do you fear the future self that you require? Because a lot of us do. And I know I kind of do. I kind of do fear the future me a little bit. And like certain things to become that person. I'm like, damn, that's really scary.
First thing is that you're absolutely right about the scared of your identity, because for me, a lot of the things that I'm scared about is one of the biggest things that success require of you is what are you willing to give up to get to that. So a lot of times, not just me, but I know there's other people, they're just scared of letting go certain things in their life.
Yeah.
Because they know that thing has to go if they want to get to their future self.
For sure.
And that's the scary part, is letting that go. If you let that go, are you going to be the same? Because they say success is not pretty. Sometimes success is not fun.
And most of the time, no, you're not going to be the same. That's
Exactly.
the point.
But at the end of the day, that's just the process of it, right? Mm-hmm. And I know I mentioned that don't focus on the identity when I was saying focus on the habits before, because the reason why I said that, and I mean, if I can refrain, is the identity is important, because you fall and rise in identity. Your habits shape your identity. Because as you mentioned, it's like they face the identity of their work, their habits, what they do. Because if you have success habits, but you don't have success results, you will base your identity on the habits, because you know that those habits are going to lead to that success.
For sure.
So once you know and you believe where you're going, your identity will be shaped along where you're going, because you know and you believe where you're going. If you don't have the habits to shape where you're going, you know where you want to go, you believe where you want to go, but if you don't have the habits to go there, you're not going to believe you're going to be there. So your identity is going to be wherever you are.
For sure.
And we'll listen to that podcast. The one thing that you sent me is that a lot of people base their finance based on where they are. Like if you only make $50,000 a year, that's the level of my thinking. That should not be a level of thinking, because your money will catch up to your level of thinking.
Yeah.
If you think that you're a 6-figure earner and you operate like a 6-figure earner, your money will catch up. As I mentioned, affirmations, what are you telling yourself, what are your habits, what are you reading, what are you looking at? When you're scrolling, are you just watching random videos? Are you watching success videos? See, sometimes it's not wrong to scroll, but what are you scrolling, watching? What is going into your brain? At the end of the day, it doesn't mean that you need to sit down and scroll and watch success video all the time, because taking a lot of knowledge but no action is just knowledge constipation. At the end of the day, knowledge turns to wisdom when that knowledge is applied. Other than that, it just turns to information. Actually, it's just information. Once it's applied, it turns to knowledge, then it turns to wisdom. When it's perfect, then it's like mastered over time.
Yeah.
And that's how one person becomes wise. Wisdom doesn't come with age. Wisdom comes with application at the end of the day.
We have a couple points on growth in marriage, and then also growth as parents, and becoming the person that your future children need and your future marriage needs, which I think are so important. A strong marriage isn't two perfect people. It's two people committing to becoming. Marriage requires continuous growth. Loving someone means growing with them. Supporting your spouse's evolution without feeling threatened. Growth seasons that feel uncomfortable but necessary. And I think in marriages, the hardest seasons sometimes are the ones where you grow the most. Like when we started dating, we didn't have any arguments. I mean, we had nothing to argue about, which also kind of meant like, well, we also had no challenges. And so it meant that we also had no growth in a sense in certain aspects. Like things were just easy. And when things are just easy, it's great, it feels great, but you don't get to level up and you don't get to gain wisdom and you don't get to grow and you don't get to learn when everything is just comfortable and easy, unfortunately. We all wish it could be that way and that we could become wise by doing nothing. But the truth is that it's not like that, and you become wise through actually growing and those uncomfortable seasons. And it wasn't until we got children in the mix, right, that things actually started to become difficult. Yeah. And we had a couple things to actually argue about and, disagree on and miscommunicate about. But how do you gain good communication with your spouse if you don't have anything to communicate on, right? Like, how do you gain good communication if there's no points to talk about, if that makes sense? Like, that's when we started having those challenges as a married couple, that's when I feel like we actually started growing and when we actually started gaining wisdom, And through that wisdom, now we can help other people in similar seasons and be like, hey, this is what you should do. This is what you should change. This is what will be helpful for you. I can help moms. Like, I know exactly what has helped me postpartum, for example, because I now have had 2 postpartums and I'm going to have 3. And I'm like, okay, like, this is what works. This is what doesn't work, So you have to go through the uncomfortable and the hard. And sometimes it just sucks. Kids don't just hear what we say. They absorb who we are. I think that's just such a strong point as parents. And so becoming the person, the future you that you need to become for your kids, it's not just about you and who you want to be, but it's also about who they need. Who do your kids need you to be as an example for them to become successful as well? If there are certain challenges that you have not overcome as a parent, and there's certain traumas that you haven't worked through, your child will see the effect of that one way or another. And you can't be telling your child, okay, you need to go and work out. Okay, you need to go and study hard. Or you need to go and get a job and work hard and go get a successful job. Like, whatever it might be, the advice you give your children has to come from actual fruit that you have accomplished. And as you're a parent, and even before you're a parent, you have the ability to do that and become that person that they need you to be as well. Modeling discipline, patience, faith, emotional regulation. We talked a lot about that last episode. Parenting exposes areas where we still need growth. It definitely does. Because when you're just by yourself and you're single, you think that you have like developed into, a perfect person or whatever. And then maybe you get into a serious relationship and a marriage and you realize, maybe I have some flaws. You know what I mean? And that's, I think, part of God's design for marriage and for parents is like he wants those flaws to come into light so that you can work on them and so that you can work with your partner and your spouse. But also, when you become a parent, then you have children. And it exposes maybe something deeper as when you're a child and what happened to you as a child. And that's what parenting really does. But yeah, when you're a parent, you have to tell your kids, do as I do and not do as I say. You have to lead as an example, because otherwise they won't come to you for advice and they won't look at you as an example. They will go around you and they will find someone who does have an example of the things that they want. And you don't want that. You want that to be you. You want to overcome the things now so that they can come to you for wisdom and you can lead them through that.
But when you think about marriage, as you mentioned, right, there's a lot to unpack there. One thing we always know is opposite attract, and that's for a reason. Is because the person that you're with were meant to stretch you, pull you out of your comfort zone. It was never supposed to be easy. It's not supposed to be a bed of roses. It's supposed to be someone who stretch you. It's like if somebody's outgoing, you're most likely gonna marry an introvert. You know why? Because
I'm kind of an introvert.
You guys are gonna be targeting each other a little bit, right? Because you guys are going to be strengthening each other in different areas. If, for instance, you go to a restaurant and the waiter get your order wrong, one of you more like, it is what it is, I'm gonna just let it be, and the other person's like, no, they're gonna fix your food. You know what I mean? And
yeah.
so you guys help each other.
You complement each other.
Yeah. So, for instance, if somebody is a little bit on the shyer side, that person can pull out more than extrovert. If somebody's extrovert, somebody can pull them a little back a little bit to tell them you need to chill a little bit, right?
Yeah.
So, and you help each other work on the things that they struggle with, and that's why opposite attracts. And that's why when you mention about being like your future self and stuff like that, especially when it comes to marriages like friction or some of the points that you mentioned, I was like, that what came to my mind. I was like, that's why opposite attracts, because it will help to see those areas where we need to develop that we don't see, and vice versa. Versus somebody who think like us. If you were to be with somebody who think like you guys are going to be having the same exact thought. Be like, yo, I'm doing everything that I can right now. Not knowing that there's a blind side that you don't see. But because you have the same way of thinking, that blind side is just going to remain the blind side until somebody from the outside looking in who has a different way of thinking, different way of operating, going to be like, hey, this is where the blind side is.
For sure.
And that's why it's great to have people who can pull on all those different things in different areas.
Yeah. You need to seek higher perspective. Why is growth uncomfortable?
You asking me?
Sure.
Growth is uncomfortable because you have to give up certain things to be in that process of growing. You have to develop new habits and give up the whole habits, which new is always uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I think that's why growth is always uncomfortable. That's what the question, right? Why is growth uncomfortable?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why growth is uncomfortable, because of those main things. Is the process can be difficult, because when you're growing, you're gonna experience challenges, because challenge leads to growth. People don't want challenge. People want the easy way. People want to find, how can I grow without the challenge? How can I get to where I can get to the easiest way? How can I shortcut the shortcut?
I wonder why we're like that. Like sometimes I'm like, okay, I know that listening to like a motivational podcast or some type of audio that's gonna feed my mind is better for me. But why do I just want to sit here and scroll on Instagram? Like,
same with me.
It just feels so comfortable. Like why are we so addicted to comfort?
It's how we're wired, because the same thing with me. But like, I know that I've always said, I'm gonna switch my habits to, when I'm in the car, I'm not gonna listen to music, I'm just the audio. Make sure there's audio's playing, not music. Audio's playing, not music. But yet I always find myself listening to music, not audios.
Yeah. I think the key in that situation is you have to choose habits that will be able to meld into a system that works for you. You know what I mean? Like maybe that's just not the right system for you.
You think maybe that's not like
maybe you like driving and listening to music. So obviously that's what you're going to revert to. For me, I don't even like driving and listening to music anymore. I prefer to just listen to an audio while I drive. Or like a podcast or something. Because then that just helps me pass the time. And hopefully my kids are getting something out of it too.
Absolutely, because
maybe your audio time needs to be somewhere else.
Yeah, I've thought of many different areas where my audio time could be, because when I'm on the road a lot, I'm like, I can listen to an audio. Because that used to be my thing, where I just listen to audios. I listen to 3-4 audios a day because I'm driving a lot. But because I got out of that habit, like when you stop a habit, it's hard to regain that habit.
Yeah.
Because then you develop a new habit. Now, because you develop a new habit, now that has become your habit. So now that habit is harder to break, so you can't develop that new habit now, because that old habit needs to be broken. How many times does that habit?
Yeah.
Exactly.
A lot.
But it's at the end of the day, it takes intentionality, it takes discipline. Right? Growth is hard. It's not easy. It's hard. It's about choosing the right habit every single day, and it's not gonna be easy.
Yeah.
Right? I'm gonna pick up that book. I'm not a big reader, but pick up that book no matter what. not a morning person, but wake up early if you need to.
For me, I know that getting up early is going to help me achieve success. But it's so hard. So hard. And not just until like recently have I been making the attempt to actually get up at 6 or 7. No.
And then at the same time, it's like I've been wanting to go to the gym, right?
Same.
But for me, it's like, okay, why don't I just do it at night? But then at nighttime, I'm like, I'm comfortable at my house, warm, cozy. Why not push yourself to go to the gym? It's crazy. Like, a lot of people, you won't believe me, but I love going for jogs. I love going for runs. Why do I feel that comfort? I don't want to wake up early enough to go for that run.
I don't blame you right now in this weather. Like the summer is the perfect time to
100%. And
go for
that
runs.
Is something that I got to calibrate my mind to, that when the summer comes around, to pick back up that habit.
You have to create a system around it. Like, you have to almost romanticize it to make it wanted. You have to make a habit that's uncomfortable be a little bit more comfortable, but not too comfortable. Like, you have to make it so that, okay, if you're going to wake up early, how do I make this the most enjoyable waking up early that I possibly can? Is it you make yourself like a tea, or you make yourself a coffee that you really like, or do you have to make it enjoyable, or you're not going to do it. You're going to start it, but you're not going to continue it. For me...
Yeah, you might do it 1 day, 2 days, but then day 3 comes, day 4 comes, then you feel like, you know what, I'm going to start again next week. Next week comes, you do it 1 day, 2 days, and then you slowly, maybe 3 days, and then you only go back to 1 day.
Yeah.
You miss the whole week, you do it one time next week, and then you miss the next week, and you miss the next week, and then you just start it slowly, and then
it just fades away.
Gone.
Yeah.
Right?
How do you make it something that like you enjoy doing? If I'm going to be working out, it has to be workouts that I enjoy doing, or I am not going to do it.
Plus, also have a reward. When you have accomplished those things, have a reward system for yourself.
A good book is Atomic Habits. I feel like I need to reread that book.
Atomic Habits is a good one because it talks about habit stacking is what it's called.
It's always getting the process started.
Started.
Discipline over dopamine. Becoming the person you want to be often feels like loss before it feels like growth. Discipline over dopamine. Letting go of old habits and identities. Yep. Those are the key main points I have here for why growth is uncomfortable. And I think we've been talking a lot about that one. Becoming often feels like loss. It's going to feel so uncomfortable. It's going to feel like you're not doing the right thing. It's going to just suck before it starts to feel like something like, oh wow, I'm actually enjoying this, or this is actually adding to my life, or things like that. It's going to suck. But it's that growth aspect of you overcoming yourself that's going to lead you to actually being the person that your future requires. The future you requires, the future your kids require, your spouse, your job, your business. Like, it's going to be those hard things, and it's just going to suck.
Absolutely.
So just wrapping up on some practical steps. Clarify your future vision. Identity-based habits. What habits are adding to that identity that you want to be? Guarding your mind and your environment. So important. Like, you need to be careful who you hang out with. Be careful who you're around. Be careful what you're listening to. Community and accountability. Accountability is so important. Have someone that can encourage you and that you can be accountable to. Speaking truth over yourself. So watching the words, the power of life and death is in your tongue. So speaking good things over yourself, even if you don't believe them. Consistency in small things. Big transformation is built in small daily faithfulness or small daily habits. And a really good book that I encourage people to read is the Bible, of course. But The Slight Edge. Yes. And it's the book I'm reading right now. And God actually told me to read that book for a reason, because I was struggling a lot mentally with identity. And I felt like, okay, I need to start small again. And so, okay, I need to read this book, because this book reinforces the mindset. Success or your goals, your future you are all determined by the simple little things that are easy to do and easy not to do. when you look at the most top high performing athletes, the only difference between them and someone who maybe didn't make it to a top performing is probably like 10 minutes worth of random training that they did. Not random, but specific training that they did on a specific area. Or maybe it was waking up 2 hours early. Or Kobe Bryant's mindset on why he would get up at 3 a.m. and be at the court is that his mindset was, if I am able to put in this slight edge over everybody else, in 5 years, no one will ever be able to catch up to me. That was his mindset of like, okay, if I wake up 2 hours earlier before anyone else, they will never be able to catch up to me. And it's interesting because Jimmy Donaldson, Mr. Beast, had the exact same mindset. He said, if I'm able to work when other people are not willing to work, so Christmas, New Year's, like throughout the holidays, late at night, early in the morning, people's birthday parties, people's birthdays, if he is able to work when no one else wants to work, he's going to gain an edge over them. 10 years ago, he had like maybe 1,000 subscribers or 10,000 or whatever he's at. Now he's at over 400 million subscribers. And so the small little daily habits and the small little daily actions, like the action to read the book instead of scroll on the phone, or, wake up an hour early versus not wake up an hour early, they don't seem like they do anything. Like they seem like they literally make no difference whatsoever. But 6 months down the line, 12 months down the line, 2 years down the line, that's when you see the difference. But you have to be able to act, and you have to be able to still do the things you need to do with seeing zero result until one day you see result. And that's obviously very difficult to do. That's why not everyone succeeds.
In the process, it just seems like nothing is happening, nothing is moving, and I'm like, a lot of people give up. It's like that one graphic of the guy who's digging for gold, and he's like 2 digs away from the goal, but he drops the axe and he walks backwards. It's pretty much what it is. Kind of similar situation. It's like a lot of people not willing to keep digging until they hit that goal, knowing that they're probably only 2 digs away, or 1 dig away.
Yeah, and I don't think people don't realize how important the little things actually add up. And your actions are either going on a trend upwards, or if you're not growing at all, you're actually going on a trend downwards. You're not just staying the same. You're either always getting better or you're always getting worse. There's no staying the same because time is always moving forward. Yeah, that's kind of all the points there. I feel like we got into a lot, but your future isn't created overnight. It's created in who you choose to become on a daily basis. I think that's exactly what we just talked about.
Amen.
But that's my last point. It's like your future you that your future needs from you has to do with the choices that you make every single day. And that's it. Like you can't control tomorrow, you can't control yesterday, but you can control today, and then you can do the same thing tomorrow.
Amen. It's wisdom. That's a great way to wrap it up.
Yeah.
Appreciate you guys tuning in. That was exciting. This is a fun one. It was definitely a fun one for sure.
It was.
Lots of technical difficulties as always, but
yeah,
we got
as
through
always.
it. We got through it, but you know the drill.
Comment down below. Like this post. Subscribe to us. Follow our social medias. Everything's linked down below. And we really appreciate your guys' support. We're trying to get to at least 500 subscribers at the moment. So
road to 500.
Yeah, so we would appreciate your guys' support. Share us with someone that you think this would be valuable to. And we appreciate you. Bye.